Hi, let's talk frittata. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be your practical final, and I just want to go step by step of my expectations so you can do well on that day. Like any lab, we're going to be washing our hands, and once we wash our hands, I want a sanitation bucket and a soapy sink of water. Once you have those things going for you, then we can start cooking. So let's go there. Go ahead and cut it there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're at the point where we're actually going to set our station. I've put my sanitation bucket off to the side. The kitchen is all clean and ready to go. I have a proper washing situation where I have the sink full of soapy water. Now I've set my station. Oh, and I can't forget about myself. We have to be properly dressed. Hairnet, closed-toed shoes, and we must have an apron in order to be dressed properly for the lab. Equipment you're going to be using today. We're going to use a sauté pan for the bacon, a sauté pan for the frittata. Can't forget our waste bucket. We don't want to be throwing eggshells through the kitchen. We're going to have a bowl to mix our ingredients in. A heat-resistant spatula. We don't want any plastic in our food. And a whisk for incorporating the eggs. 2 plates. One is for raw bacon, one is for cooked. No cross-contamination here. And then we have a knife with a properly set cutting board with a safety mat underneath it. This will be some of the things I'll be looking for as you set your stations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about our ingredients. For frittata, you'll need eggs. You'll need 5 whole fresh eggs. 4 pieces of bacon. I'm using Colby Jack. You can use any cheese, but we'll see what's on the table that day. We're going to need 3/4 of a cup, which would be a 1/2 cup and a 1/4 cup. And then we're going to have a tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. This is going to be for the top. We're also going to need a tablespoon of chopped parsley. The best thing I can tell you is that the chopped parsley should be about the size of your thumb. The sprig should be about the size of your thumb, and that will give you approximately a tablespoon. Chopped basil, we only want a 1/2 teaspoon. Any more than that, you'll be able to taste it, and it'll make a very bitter product. And then finally, our butter. We're actually going to use margarine today. Bacon fat will be available, but this is what we're going to use for today.
Yeah, you're recording.
Okay, now we're at the point where we're going to start cooking. We're going to do some dovetailing. Dovetailing is where we do more than one thing at a time. I've had my bacon on the stove for a couple minutes. It's on a slow cook. We want to cook this until it's golden brown. We'll turn it over. Let it cook for a little bit longer. This is my plate that had the raw bacon on it. It now goes in the sink. No cross-contamination. While my bacon is cooking, I'm actually going to crack my eggs. Remember, we need to have a small bowl to crack the eggs into, just in case one has a blood spot or there's an imperfection or it could be rotten. And these are going to go into the machine, into the sink. I'm using a whisk to beat my eggs. I want them all incorporated. I don't want any whites separated from the yellows. Don't use a fork. That'll lose points for you because basically we're using kitchen equipment. Once I get my eggs all nice and incorporated, I have my cheese pre-measured. Into the mix it goes. I have my parsley chopped, and I have my 1/2 teaspoon of basil, and it's going to go inside also. At this point, our product is ready to go. All this can now go into the sink and be washed. My bacon is almost finished. It needs to be nice and crunchy. You want it to be able to crumble. For the top of the frittata, I have Parmesan cheese. And like I said, we're going to cook with butter. We're going to use this sauté pan to cook our frittata in because I don't want it to stick. I'm going to warm my pan and I'm going to melt my butter. And that dish goes into the actual sink. I've got a brand new plate with a towel to catch any of the extra grease. My bacon is looking beautiful. It's nice and crispy. The grease is going to go on the can, on the table, the butcher block table. Do not pour this down the sink. But we want to let it rest for a bit so it cools down. I'm going to dab off the extra grease off my bacon, and I'm going to chop it up so it can go into my product. It's a little hot, so be careful. Once I get it chopped up, grab my bench scraper, and into the eggs it goes. All this stuff can be washed. Make sure the butter coats the entire pan. It's nice and hot. You can hear the hissing. And then we're going to just pour our eggs into the pan. And we're going to let it cook. You're looking to get a nice brown crust on the bottom of the frittata. It's not a lot of stirring. You're going to use a rubber spatula to lift the egg so we can remove some of the raw egg product underneath. All right, ladies and gentlemen, while my frittata has been cooking, I've done all my dishes. They're all clean and sitting in the strainer. We're at the point now where this product is semi-firm. I've got a nice brown bottom. It's ready to go in the broiler. I'm just going to sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on top and pull it out when it's ready to, when it's all nice and brown. See when it's done. Going into the broiler. Your oven has been set to high. The broil attachment is in the top of the oven. So we're going to set the frittata right at the top, and we're going to close the oven just enough to let it cook. Don't forget about it. It will catch fire. All right, now we're ready to take our product out. Give it a nice shake. It should be nice and firm. It's got good color. Make sure that we turn off our oven when we walk away. And now when I flip this over on the board, it should be nice and brown and look almost like a pie crust.
Okay.
All right, I brought it over to the cutting board. If we had enough butter in the pan and we properly loosened it around the edge, it should pop right out. This is what your frittata would look like. For me, you're going to cut a small sample out of it, and the rest of it's yours to eat. Then finish cleaning up your kitchen, and we'll call it a day. Good luck.